Tiffany of the sewing blog TipStitched, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be on my sewing plans for fall 2017. I am a list maker and I have tons of journals, I have tons of diaries and those types of things. So here is a sewing journal that I designed for myself, and I have actually finished it. I'm really excited because I don't remember how many pages I printed out, but I started this late last year around December. And since then, I have filled it up with all my sewing projects. Even though I blog and keep a lot of details there, I like to write down a lot of my details here in this journal so that when I go back and make another of the same pattern, I have my notes of what I liked, what I didn't like, what I changed, what I should have changed, things like that. In this, I also have a to sew list. I also have a pattern list to write down what patterns I want or already own. So here's the pattern list. I also have a fabric list, which is admittedly way too long, where I have all my fabrics, the description, how many yards I have of it, etc., etc. Anyway, I like to make my list here, but I also write my list a lot of times on the go while sitting around and waiting or riding in the car or at break at work or something like that. And so I usually do these by seasons when the new patterns come out, to sort of decide what my plans are going to be for the upcoming season. Now, I'm not one of those sewers that sews ahead, unfortunately. I typically sew for the season that it currently is, and that's just because I like to wear my makes immediately. So the thought of sewing a wool coat in the summer or even the fall when I know I can't wear it until later in the winter drives me crazy. As soon as I finish a piece, I want to wear it out. So typically, I don't start sewing for fall until fall hits, and that's why I'm just starting on my fall plans for this year. Another thing that I like to do to try to keep myself organized in addition to keeping all of my lists is putting everything together for my sewing projects. Like I said, I've already typically made my list of what I plan on sewing for the season, and I like to pair on that list what fabric I want to use for that pattern. Still, when it would come time for me to come into my sewing space, I would waste a good 15 to 30 minutes trying to decide what to sew. That hasn't been totally eliminated with this new system, but it has been decreased because once I come up, I have all my plans already in their bags sitting on my shelf, so I just grab a bag and go. So in this bag, I put obviously the fabric, I put the pattern I plan on using, and I also put any notions like buttons or zippers or elastic or bias tape that I'm going to need for that project all in this one bag. Like I said, that way when I come to my sewing space, I just pull out the bag and I'm ready to go. This also helps if you're not able to finish a project in one sitting, which is oftentimes for me, because you can put your incomplete project back in the bag, whether it's cut out pieces, partially sewn projects, or whatever, and then everything's together and ready to go. I'm guilty of stopping through a project and coming back to complete it a few days later and then not being able to find the pocket, the waistband, the elastic, the button, the neckband. Something is amiss. So once I put everything back in this bag, when I come back up, I can pull it out and I don't have to worry about anything being lost or separated from the project. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, first up we have the Mimi pattern from Mimi G. This one is the first one I'm going to show you because I've actually already started working on this one. Again, you can see that I have everything stored here in my bag. This is the way that I like to print off all of my PDF instructions for any pattern really. I like to print them out booklet size, which is half size. And that way you can go just, you don't have to use as much paper. They're easy to store. It makes it more the size of a regular sewing pattern. So however you store those, you can probably store the instructions for these. And sometimes I staple it on this one. I just hadn't gotten around to it yet because you need a long arm stapler. But I print off the pattern front or image separately sometimes, still at the booklet rate, and print everything else out booklet size so it comes out this nice small booklet shape. Anyway, the bags are great because I can put this booklet along with those large PDF cut and taped pieces in the bag. And like I said, I've already started on this dress. So this is an example of how you can put it aside for easy storage to come back to later. So as you can see, it's this bat wing dress. Once I get it laid out for you here. And this is how far I made it during my initial session. I got the shoulders together, the back center seam sewed, the side seam sewn, and the reinforcing seam here where the neck binding will go. I haven't cut out the binding because I was thinking of doing something different for this neckline, which I still may do, but now I'm in debate. So again, while I'm debating that, I've set this aside and I can place everything back into this Ziploc bag so that once I finally do make up my mind, everything is together and ready to go. I'll just fold this up, slip it back in the bag, slip the pattern pieces back into the bag, and slip my PDF pattern instruction booklet back into the bag. Next up, I've been waiting to make this for a very long time because I love this pattern, this fabric rather, that I grabbed from LA Finch back in the summer. I actually picked it up when I went to the Mimi G conference in LA back in June or July. And I absolutely love this fabric. It has a slight stretch and it is a crepe. It's a little see-through. I don't know if you can see that with the lighting here. It's a little sheer. I'd call it semi-opaque. It isn't really sheer, but I wanted to make a dress out of it, but I'm a little concerned about the sheerness and I'm too lazy to line it. But it would be great for a kimono. I think that weight fabric, but what I have planned for it is this Vogue 8977, which I've made already. It's on the blog in a bright floral rayon challis, which I absolutely love, but I made the small and it was a little tight around the arm cycle. So this time around, I'm going to go ahead and cut the medium. It's a blousey sort of tunic anyway, because I'll be doing view C. So I think that'll work. The one thing I don't have for this pattern yet is buttons. I have some navy little ball buttons that I could use for this pattern, but I'd really like to have something else that would stand out a little bit more, and I just don't know what that would be since this fabric has so many colors and shades, being the floral print that it is. But this fabric feels amazing. I've told you before in my first video how much I love Finch fabrics out of LA. They have great stuff. I guess this is really sideways, huh? Let me turn it around. But I do love this fabric and I can't wait to make this blouse. One, because I absolutely love the blouse, and two, because I absolutely love this fabric. I just need to find the right buttons to really make everything pop. So again, I'll fold this all back up. This bag is a little small. I don't remember where I got this little bag from, but it all fits. Let's put that to the side and move on to the next one. Next up is the one that I was showing you in the intro, and it is this knit blazer. Now I have a history with this blazer. I've made it once before in a yellow ponte, but that ponte was way too soft and way too shiny. It was more of like a scuba knit than it really was a ponte, even though that's what it was listed as online. No, actually I bought that in a local store here in Atlanta, and I really did like the way that it came out. It was just the wrong fabric for what I was trying to do. So we're going to do this again. I actually want to do this in black and navy, but I only pulled the black fabric for now. And I'm going to be doing view A, because I want the full sleeves, but I want the shorter waistline. Views D and C are the longer waistlines to like sort of the mid hip. I want it to hit just below the waistline. I will be omitting this bias tape here that you see on A, but I do want the full sleeves and the shorter waist. So for this one, I have some pretty basic black buttons that I picked up from Joann's a while back when they were having a sale. Let me see if I can get that in frame. Sort of, maybe. These were just 50 cents, and this is where I buy a lot of my buttons because I absolutely hate making buttonholes and I don't use buttons often, but when I do, they're usually some from Joann's that I bought on clearance. Like I said, these were 50 cents. But here is the double knit that I have for that particular project. It sort of has a texture to it, like a herringbone texture, but it's a nice weight. It's pretty much acts like a ponte. It's a double knit. It's fairly thick. It has generous stretch. As this particular blazer pattern, and why I chose it and why I love it, is designed for knits, not wovens. So it has a good amount of stretch, great recovery. This is probably made more of synthetic than it is any natural fibers, so I don't expect to have a lot of peeling with this fabric. which is why I chose it for this blazer that I would probably wear, you know, daily, if not weekly, during the fall and winter months. So I'm really excited about this. I don't know how soon I'm going to get to it, but again, I want to make it in this black. And I also have some high rayon content, great recovery ponte in a navy that I'd love to use to make this jacket with as well. I'm just going to start with the black. Next up, I don't always sew for myself. Sometimes I sew for others. And usually that is Miss Socialite, my little mini-me. I have made a similar hoodie to this out of a McCall's pattern. I'll find the number and link to it in the description. I posted about it on the blog. And I had some of the sweater knit from that project left over. And because she likes to be my mini-me, I thought I'd make her a very similar type hooded cardigan jacket. So I'm probably going to go for View D, what the little girl has on in the photo of 7427, and use this same gray, heathered, black and white sort of sweater knit. It has great stretch. You can see it here. I'm not really sure where I picked this up. I can't remember. A part of me wants to think Hancock's before Hancock's closed, but that may not be correct. I'm not sure. But anyway, she loves hoodies, so this will be a cute addition to her wardrobe. She'll love the open neck and the hoodie. If I have enough fabric, maybe I'll extend it so she can have sort of like the finger cuff, the thumb cuff, because she would love that as well. But I might be a little short on this fabric for this project. So as you see, I don't have anything else in the bag here because nothing else is really needed besides the fabric and the pattern. So I will be making that for her at some point. I'd love for her to make it for herself, but I think the sweater net will be a little tricky. Now, another mini-me project that I have lined up is this dress out of this floral burgundy maroon sort of floral knit. I bought this from Fabric Mart when they were having their cut fabric sale. I don't know how many of you guys follow Fabric Mart, but you definitely should. They had pre-cut pieces, knits, wovens, chalets, jerseys, scubas, different things. And this is a jersey that I purchased during that sale. I think this ended up being $4 a yard, so I think it was $16 for this 4-yard piece. I've already made myself a maxi dress out of it. You'll be seeing that on the blog soon. It's M7561, and it is a half sleeve bodice with a gathered waist maxi skirt. With that being said, I figured I'd make Miss Socialite her own mini-me version using McCall 77.9 as the base. She'll probably do the short sleeve, though I may lengthen it now that fall is coming to the 3/4 sleeve with the gathered waist skirt. It'll at least be to the knee, but if I have enough fabric, I'll take it all the way down to the ankle so she can have a little maxi dress just like mine. She is 10 and she still loves that, so I'm going to milk it for as long as I possibly can until she decides that she does not want to look like me out in public. But this is a really simple dress. I've made it for her before in a different fabric with the circle skirt instead of the gather skirt, because honestly I hate making gathers. But so that she can have one that looks very similar to mine, I'm going to go ahead and do the gathered skirt on this one. Back to sewing for me. I have another Mimi pattern. This is actually one of her simplicity patterns. I picked this up, I think, this summer or whatever summer this actually came out, because I love a little Henley dress and I thought the snap detail on the Henley neckline and the side was really cute. I intended to make it for the summer in View B with the short sleeve version, but summer came and passed. Like I said, my sewing lists are often a little ambitious. So now that it's fall, I'll just make it for fall. The recommended fabric for this is a rib knit, and I actually already had in my stash this gray finely ribbed knit that I picked up from Fine Fabrics here in Atlanta some time ago for another project I can't remember, and didn't use it for that. So now I think it'll be the best fabric to use for this project here. I also have the snaps, although I failed to put them in my bag, breaking my own rule, but I have silver snaps. So I'm going to go ahead once I finish that video and make sure I put my snaps in with this so everything is together. I just think this will be a really great running around, running errands dress. Something that you've seen before if you follow me on Instagram is the question about this pattern here. I have this denim tinsel fabric that I have from Fabric Mart Fabrics again. It's this sort of medium to light denim color. It's a pretty lightweight tinsel, so as you can see it has good movement. I think it's going to drape well. I have about 4 yards of this for my monthly blog, my monthly guest blog for Fabric Mart Fabrics. Their blog is called Fabricista. And I was debating between McCall 7577, this pattern, and Simplicity 8412, I think. And I couldn't decide, so I took it to Instagram. And you guys voted for me. It was almost unanimous to make this Mimi pattern 8426. I'm going to be doing view A, of course, minus the collar, all one piece. It'll be out of this beautiful tinsel denim. I actually can't wait to get started on this because I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous and something really practical that I can wear through the fall by itself, with a blazer, with a jacket, with some boots, with some booties, with some cute heels. I think that'll be a really good one. I still need to buy a zipper for this pattern because I thought I had a light blue zipper and I don't. So that is on my to buy list, to buy a zipper for this pattern. We're almost done. I have a couple more. Actually, let me go to this one. This is the other pattern I was thinking for that tinsel denim fabric, 8214. I hope that's the number I said earlier. But this is another jumpsuit pattern. I really like jumpsuits. And I had thought about making this out of the tinsel, but like I said, overwhelmingly so, everyone picked the Mimi 8426 pattern. So I decided I could use something else to make this jumpsuit Project One Way pattern. And so for this one, I decided that I would use the sort of olive green suiting that I actually purchased at Michael Levine at the Loft, which is why I have no idea what this fabric actually is. It looks like a stretch suiting to me. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but it really is sort of a muted olive green. I love the fact that it has some stretch. That's sort of why I wanted to use it for the Mimi one, because that's a more fitted jumpsuit. But I think it'll work well for this one, as you can see here in view A. Is that view A? Nope, in view D. The one that the model's wearing is sort of that muted olive green color as well, so I already know that'll look great. Plus, I have some little green booties that I purchased from Old Navy on clearance this summer that I can't wait to wear with it. Anyway, even though you can't see it, there are button closures on the front of this jumpsuit, and that's because it is a jumpsuit and you have to be able to get in it. The pussy bow just covers it up in all of these photos. I usually don't like items with the pussy bow, but for some reason this pattern sort of spoke to me, and I've seen a lot of other sewists sew it up and it looks great. There are tons of reviews for it on patternreview.com, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a go. Even though most people I think made one of the dress versions, I'm definitely going to go for the jumpsuit version. And I think you need 4 buttons, and I have another set of these buttons, but these are sort of bronze stenciled, I don't know what to call them, buttons. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that on camera. I still don't have my autofocus totally correct. But again, these are some buttons that I purchased from Joann on sale. They were $1.97. I actually think they were lower than that when I got to the register. But these have sort of like a stencil detail to them. I'm not really super concerned about the buttons that I use on this particular jumpsuit because, like I said, you're not going to be able to see it underneath the pussy bow. But I do think this sort of goes with it, tone on tone, with this muted olive green stretch woven fabric that I picked up from the Loft in LA, Michael Levine. So we're gonna make that happen, and I'll see how well I like it. If not, you can always take the buttons off and find some the same size and switch them out. So we'll see. Now the last project that I have here is almost another jumpsuit. I've really got to stop making so many jumpsuits and dresses because I feel like that's all I really talked about in this review. But here's some stretch denim I purchased from, for sure, Hancock many moons ago, since they're out of business now, on their flat fold table. I remember spotting it and not being ready at all to sew denim yet, but thought it was a good deal on stretch denim, so I went ahead and purchased this. This is a nice deep, almost indigo jean. It's not quite a jegging, but it definitely does have substantial stretch to it for denim. And I've been holding on to this for a really long time, and I finally worked up the nerve, I think, to cut into it. And what do I want to make with this? The McCall's overall pattern that I think everyone has already made, since McCall was doing a sew along with it. I actually want to do some modifications to this pattern and copy a Mimi G overall look. It wasn't something that she DIY'd, but it was a look of the day that she posted to her Instagram, where it had a very similar pant as View B, except for I think it was cropped with these large front patch pockets. I don't know how well you can see that on the screen, but it had these large front patch pockets. I think it had a rolled up cuff, and the top was more of a bustier or a corset top. And so I have another pattern that I'm thinking of using for adding that feature to it, but I'm not sure how well that's going to work in denim because it's designed for lighter weight wovens, but we'll see. Regardless, even if not, I'll definitely make the jeans with the overall pattern that we have here. I just have to go out and get the overall buckles to complete that. But I'm really excited about making this because I've been putting off and putting off and putting off making anything with real denim and top stitching, and although this one has a faux fly and not a real fly, we'll see how this goes. But this is the last thing that I have bagged up and put aside to sew for this fall. So hopefully I can get to most of this, if not all, before the winter weather hits in, because I have a separate list for the things that I really want to sew for winter, and I'll be bringing that video to you in a couple of months. So here's all my sewing plans for this fall. Like I said, hopefully I can get to most of them. Thank you for watching the video and sticking with me. Let me know what you think of my fabric pairings to my patterns. Also, let me know what you're sewing this fall down in the comments. Maybe I can take a couple of ideas from you guys. And I know a question that was asked on my Instagram page when I posted about how I was storing my upcoming sewing projects was, where did I get the bags? And some of these bags that you notice that have the zip, I actually purchased from Target. I'm not sponsored by Target. This is their Up and Up brand. I picked these mainly because they had the red zipper on them, and as you can tell by my logo and everything else, red is my favorite color. They're just a knockoff of the hefty zip top bags, and those bags have a blue zipper, and I just preferred red. They're also cheaper, so that's always great. These are the 2.5 gallon size bags, so I think the fabric for most of your projects could fit in this size bag. Anything besides like a heavy wool coat that would have the wool plus the lining and everything else could probably fit comfortably in one of these bags. They also do have like extra large bags, I don't know what they're called, that are more like those vacuum sealed bags that you store under your bed or in your closet. So you could always buy those size bags as well. But these, like I said, are the jumbo size. They're 2.5 gallon. You could also buy the Walmart brand. Of course, Ziploc has theirs as well. But these work great for me. As you can see, I have all my projects, even though they're a mess stacked up on this table. They're all together and ready to go. And once I put the final items, like the snap for this one or the overall placards in the one, I'll have everything together and ready to sew. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up. Check me out on Instagram or Facebook at TipStitched, and check me out on my blog, tipstitched.wordpress.com. Bye guys!